Victoria's dogs, there are almost as many paws as people. Die-hard fans call their loyalty a disease and claim the canine as king.
I've had dogs for the last 60 years.
60 years?
Nothing but dogs for 60 years.
Why?
Because there's an honest way of getting a quid.
It's taken 20 years to welcome them back.
Glamour is not a word associated with greyhound racing, but if you look among the ranks of the faithful, you'll find more than your share of characters. Some of them are so committed to the sport that they call it a disease. Deep in the depths of a Victorian winter, Neil Kearney rugged up and joined a mere 200 faithful punters and 80 greyhounds for a night at the Cranbourne Dogs.
The greyhounds are in the boxes, set to go now. The light is on for race number 4. Set to go.
Time sharpens, heightens each sensation, darkness stirs and wakes imagination.
The wise men say you can't tell a book by its cover, but you can pick a sporting event by its gatekeepers. And here at Cranbourne Dogs on a freezing Saturday night in the dead of winter, the first people you encounter are a couple of frosty old Marines who'd stand stiff in the face of an Arctic blizzard.
Well, I take the tickets and check the cars coming in and see if they got the right passes.
I park the cars.
Indeed, Harry and Bill sound as if they've come via an Arctic blizzard, or at least straight from northern exposure.
You two gentlemen both be British?
No, Billy here's a Scot and I'm a Londoner.
And no, they're not the two Ronnies. But as they wait for brave souls to emerge like icebergs out of the frozen darkness, the British Bulldog concedes that he does turn a hairy upper lip to any troublesome terriers, or as he calls them, odd bods.
I rarely get an odd bod, really.
What do you do if you get an odd bod?
Well, I'll make his life a misery. I can do that. Like, you know, I'll park another car behind him and one in front of him. That'll learn him not to park where I want him.
You sound like you've got a very mean streak there.
No, I haven't. I'm just nasty sometimes.
Open your window, Freddie.
If you can get past Harry and Bill, or are they Morecambe and Wise, you buy your ticket from Freddie, a man who's chosen to spend much of his life behind bars.
Good paying job, this one?
I don't get paid. This is a love job for me.
Love?
Yeah. Just gets me out of the house and...
It's love to sit in a cold box on a freezing night?
Well, it's not really cold. I've got a heater up there.
Oh, yeah, that's the heater there, is it,
Yeah.
Freddie? The one bar radiator?
Yeah, just the one bar radiator. They don't want us to get too hot.
Why don't you charge?
Well, the pay's not that good anyway, so...
How long have you been doing this?
13 years.
13 years without getting paid?
Yeah.
Ever thought about putting the hand out and asking for a quid?
Well, no, the club can't afford it, really.
So that's a ticket seller who doesn't charge because the pay's not that good anyway, alongside a Scotsman and a Londoner who aren't British. And we'd been expecting a predictable night at a country dogs meeting, only to be treated to an inspired insight into the human condition. And so far, we haven't even got past the front gate.
What are the dog people like?
Oh, they're good, the average dog person, yeah. Yeah, they're good. It's a, I don't know what I should say, a poor man's sport, but it's the sort of sport that you can, you know, could form a syndicate and have $500 or $600 each in and buy a reasonably good dog.
On this chilly night, the crowd, if you can call it that, will be about 200. With 10 races of 8 dogs each, that's 1 canine for every 3 humans. And assuming that each dog has 4 legs, there'll be more paws than people. Even so, tonight's rather balmy compared to last week.
Last Saturday night was a shocker. It was this terrible night. Like, you know, only the needy and the greedy come out on nights like that.
That night was the worst night we'd had here, and we only got... How many did we get here, Bill?
150.
150, that's a bad night, that.
So why do the people go?
Well, it's like a religion.
If this is a religion, then the weigh-in is some sort of confessional.
33.2 tonight.
Here the dogs are checked that they are in the same physical shape as last start and that nothing ungodly has happened to their preparation. With that, they are kennelled in groups of 8, one race at a time, and some sleep as blissfully as angels, though the more nervous create what can only be described as a hell of a racket.
We've locked all the greyhounds away in their individual kennels in the cages. Each cage is a bay of 8. And they're sealing every door of every bay. Tonight actually is fairly quiet. Some nights it can be absolutely deafening in here.
So the barking ones are the ones that are losers?
In a lot of cases, they're losers, yes.
So I can look around here now and I'd nearly know what's going to win, wouldn't I? Because there's one quiet one just there.
Well, yeah.
That black one.
But unfortunately, there's 3 in there not barking, so you're going to back all 3, you see.
Barking aside, dogs are as socially acceptable and, might I say, biologically thoughtful as their handlers.
The word is that the greyhounds are vicious, but they're the most docile, beautiful creature going, in our opinion.
What's the appeal of the racing then for you?
Well, there's nothing much in it, but once you get into it, it's like a disease you can't get out of.
Unfolds its splendor, grasp it, sense it, tremulous and tender, turn your face
Susie Fly won by 4 lengths out of Jarman. Third is Daisy Downs.
Ron Hawkswell's been Cranbourne's course caller for nearly 20 years.
My first actual full-time course broadcast before I started in radio was at Cranbourne, so there's it's kind of tugged on the heartstrings from there on in.
Is it an emotional sport?
It is, because I know all the people involved in the sport, and you do, particularly when you get a good greyhound. We've had some very good greyhounds, particularly Bowl Tracy was one of the best I'd seen. He got back in the field and came with that withering burst at the end. And, you know, when he started to make that run with about 150 to go, the adrenaline really starts to pump. And the leader, City Real, John going through on the inside.
And when Ron's adrenaline pumps, it fairly cascades like a bursting Niagara. And for many of the Cranbourne committed, this is a lifelong affection and affliction.
The highs and the lows, the good and the bad.
They're all here, are they?
They're all here.
Oh, well.
Yes. But, you know, they just get in your blood and stay there, I guess. So...
And how long have you been in greyhound racing?
Oh, about 25 years.
Good life, right?
Do you enjoy it?
Yes, 30 years. I enjoy that.
30 years?
Yeah.
And what do you like so much about the dogs?
Dogs. Their dogs is the best friend of human being. I love dogs.
Mr. Wee calls himself the remarkable Chinaman of the betting ring, though it isn't so much a ring as a semicircle, seeing as how the number of bookies has fallen from 8 to 5 in the past year.
For the 1 bar 1, yes sir.
And like bagmen everywhere, most stand sorrowfully, as punters like Ron the race caller indulge in the more exotic forms of gambling on the tote.
The second league one only for $2.50.
You winning?
No, miles behind.
Miles behind?
Miles.
Can you get out?
And no chance in the world.
So it's a very depressing sport, dog racing for you?
Oh, it can be. Depends how you take it. You know, if you accept losing, it's, you know, it's all right.
And you're taking it pretty hard tonight?
Yeah, I am, to be honest. Yeah.
What's been the most depressing result for you?
Tonight or the last 22 years?
Still, if there is such a thing as a disease or addiction to dog racing, it's a powerful substance in this man, Wee.
I don't like horses.
Don't you?
Yeah, horses got the jockey on the back, isn't it? You can understand the animal, but you don't understand human being.
You don't trust the jockey on the back?
I don't trust anyone. I trust the dogs.
The 10 races happen so quickly the dogs barely have time to get cold, or for that matter, to get hot. Each event is over in 30 seconds, often gone in the blink of an eye.
Was that a winner for you?
What?
That race just went round then.
I don't know, I'm too busy talking to you. What won it?
And when the night at the dogs is over and the handlers head for their panel vans, out at the front gate, Harry is providing his testimony for his pals, his best friends, the dog people. And Harry isn't going to leave us without the last word.
I think some of them feed the dogs better than they feed themselves, to be quite honest. And I've never seen any of them ill-treat them or nothing. I mean, they really love their dogs, they do.
Racing Cersei's fire box number 4, the favourite went straight for the lead, settling down. Young running second, followed
Neil Kearney, a great storyteller. A night at Cranbourne, 12 degrees, or a night at Phantom of the Opera. Take your pick. After the break, on the road with the South African Springboks.
What I'm desperate to see is to start playing the right type of game, to start seeing what we've been working at to come through. And that's what I'm really looking for, the combinations to work, the interaction between backs and forwards, and our ball retention skills to improve. Once that starts happening, I know that the wins will take care of themselves.